I changed schools to escape bullying and lost weight. My best friend of 14 years turned against me. She befriended my bullies and spread lies. I'm Vivian, 17F, and I've been best friends with Tamara, 17F, for as long as I can remember. Our friendship began on the first day of kindergarten when we both showed up wearing matching butterfly hair clips. It was like the universe had decided we were meant to be friends. From that day forward, we were inseparable. Growing up, Tamara and I did everything together. We had weekly sleepovers where we'd stay up late watching Disney movies and planning our future weddings. Every summer, our families would rent neighboring beach houses, and Tamara and I would spend our days building sandcastles and collecting seashells. We even joined the same Girl Scout troop and sold cookies door to door as a team. As we got older, our bond only grew stronger. We navigated the awkward middle school years together, giggling over our first crushes and comforting each other through our first heartbreaks. When high school came around, we were thrilled to find out we'd been placed in most of the same classes. Tamara has always been the outgoing one in our friendship. She's naturally charming and confident, with long blonde hair and bright blue eyes that seem to draw people in. Since middle school, boys have been falling over themselves to get her attention. She's also incredibly athletic, excelling in both soccer and volleyball. I, on the other hand, have always been more introverted. I prefer curling up with a good book to going to parties, and I've never been particularly athletic. I've also struggled with my weight for most of my life. I wasn't obese, but I was definitely on the chubbier side, which made me feel self-conscious, especially standing next to Tamara. Despite our differences, Tamara has always been supportive of me. In middle school, when a group of girls started making fun of my weight, Tamara stood up to them. She told them off in front of everyone and then spent the rest of the day complimenting me and making me feel better. It's one of my favorite memories of our friendship. As we entered high school, things started to change. Tamara's popularity skyrocketed. She was invited to all the parties and was even nominated for Homecoming Queen in our sophomore year. She'd always made sure to include me in everything, but I often felt like I was living in her shadow. Around this time, Tamara began making more comments about her own body. She'd constantly talk about how she needed to lose weight, even though she was already slim. She'd skip lunch, saying she wasn't hungry, and I'd catch her scrutinizing her reflection in every mirror we passed. I was worried about her, but every time I tried to bring it up, she'd brush it off and say she was fine. Meanwhile, I was dealing with my own issues. The bullying at school had gotten worse. A group of girls, led by a girl named Monica, had made it their mission to make my life miserable. They'd make loud comments about my weight when I walked by in the hallway, leave nasty notes in my locker, and once even stole my clothes during gym class, forcing me to wear my sweaty gym uniform for the rest of the day. Tamara tried to stand up for me, but it only seemed to make things worse. The bullies started spreading rumors that Tamara was only friends with me because she felt sorry for me. It was a nightmare. My grades started to slip as I became more anxious about going to school. I'd fake being sick to stay home, and when I did go to school, I'd spend lunch hiding in the library to avoid the cafeteria drama. My parents noticed the change in my behavior and suggested I talk to the school counselor. After several sessions with the counselor and long discussions with my parents, we decided it would be best for me to switch schools for my junior year. It was a tough decision. The thought of leaving Tamara and starting over at a new school terrified me, but I knew it was necessary for my mental health. Tamara was devastated when I told her about the decision. We cried together, promising to stay in touch and remain best friends no matter what. We made plans to have weekly video calls and meet up on weekends. During the summer before junior year, I decided to focus on my health. It wasn't about losing weight, but about feeling better both physically and mentally. I started seeing a nutritionist who helped me develop a balanced meal plan. I also joined a local yoga studio and fell in love with the practice. To my surprise, the weight started coming off naturally as I made these lifestyle changes. By the time school started again, I had lost about 30 pounds. But more importantly, I felt great. I was more confident and happier than I had been in years. My new school turned out to be a fresh start. Without the weight of my reputation from my old school, I found it easier to make friends and even joined the school newspaper. I was excited to see Tamara again and tell her about my new school and how I was doing. We had kept in touch over the summer, but our communication had been less frequent than we'd planned. Tamara had been busy with soccer camp and family vacations, so we hadn't had a chance to video call or meet up. We finally met up at a local cafe a few weeks into the school year. When I walked in, Tamara's jaw dropped. She stared at me for a full minute before saying anything. When she finally spoke, her voice was tight. "Wow, Vivian. You look different." I smiled, thinking she was just surprised. "Thanks. I've been working on getting healthier. How have you been?" Tamara's response was blunt. She barely engaged in conversation, giving one-word answers to my questions. When I asked about her life, she quickly changed the subject back to me. So, how much weight did you lose? What's your secret? I felt uncomfortable with her fixation on my weight loss, so I tried to steer the conversation elsewhere. I talked about my new school, the article I was writing for the school newspaper, and the new friends I had made in my creative writing class. But Tamara seemed uninterested, her eyes constantly darting to my body as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. As we were leaving, Tamara suddenly blurted out, "You know, I've been dealing with an eating disorder. I can't believe you'd lose weight knowing what I'm going through. It's like you're trying to compete with me or something." I was stunned. I had no idea Tamara had been diagnosed with an eating disorder. Sure, I had noticed her odd behavior around food, but she had always brushed off my concerns. I tried to explain that my weight loss wasn't about her, but about my own health and happiness. Tamara just scoffed and walked away. Later that night, I received a barrage of text messages from Tamara. She accused me of being selfish, of trying to steal her spotlight, and of not caring about her struggles. She said I was a terrible friend for flaunting my weight loss in front of her. She even brought up old memories, twisting them to make it seem like I had always been jealous of her. One message particularly hurt. "I bet you're loving this, aren't you? Finally, you get to be the pretty one. I always knew you resented me for being more popular. I guess you got what you wanted." I was devastated. How could Tamara think this way? I had always supported her, cheered for her successes, and been there for her through thick and thin. I never saw our friendship as a competition. I'm hurt and confused. I never meant to upset Tamara, and I certainly wasn't trying to compete with her. I thought she'd be happy for me, but instead, she seems angry and resentful. I don't know what to do. Should I apologize for losing weight? Should I distance myself from her? I value our friendship, but her reaction has me questioning everything. Am I the asshole for losing weight and feeling good about myself? Update 1: It's been about a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Your comments really helped me gain perspective on the situation with Tamara. After reading your responses, I realized that I needed to have an honest conversation with Tamara. I decided to reach out to her and suggest we meet up to talk things through. She agreed, albeit reluctantly. We chose to meet at the local park where we used to play as kids. It felt like a neutral location, filled with happy memories that might help ease the tension between us. As I waited for Tamara on a bench near the old oak tree where we used to have picnics, I couldn't help but feel nervous. When Tamara arrived, I was struck by how tired she looked. There were dark circles under her eyes, and she seemed to have lost weight since I last saw her. My heart ached, realizing that she might be struggling more than I had imagined. I started by expressing how much I valued our friendship and how hurt I was by her reaction to my weight loss. I explained that my journey was about improving my health and self-esteem, not about competing with her or anyone else. I told her about the bullying I had endured at our old school and how changing schools and focusing on my health had helped me regain my confidence. To my surprise, Tamara broke down in tears. She confessed that she had been struggling with body image issues for years, but she had never been officially diagnosed with an eating disorder. She admitted that she had lied about the diagnosis because she felt threatened by my transformation. Tamara revealed that she had always seen herself as the pretty one in our friendship, and my weight loss made her feel insecure. She worried that I would suddenly become more popular and leave her behind. It was a moment of brutal honesty that I hadn't expected. As Tamara talked, she shared things she had never told me before. She revealed that her parents had been putting immense pressure on her to maintain her athletic scholarships, constantly commenting on her weight and diet. She also confessed that she had been struggling in school, feeling overwhelmed by the expectations everyone had for her. I listened to Tamara and tried to understand her perspective. I shared my own struggles with self-esteem and the bullying I had endured. We talked for hours, rehashing memories and addressing the unspoken tensions that had built up over the years. We remembered the time in 7th grade when we both had crushes on the same boy, Jake. Tamara had asked him to the school dance, and he had said yes. I had been hurt but had hidden my feelings, not wanting to make Tamara feel bad. Now, Tamara confessed that she had known about my crush and had asked Jake out anyway, feeling like she had to prove she was more desirable. We also talked about the time in 9th grade when I had won the school writing contest. Tamara had seemed happy for me at the time, but now she admitted that she had felt jealous, worried that I might outshine her in something. These confessions were painful to hear, but they also helped me understand the underlying insecurities that had been affecting our friendship for years. By the end of our conversation, we both felt emotionally drained but relieved. Tamara apologized for her behavior and the hurtful things she had said. I apologized for not being more sensitive to her struggles and for not noticing how much she had been hurting. We agreed that we both needed to work on ourselves and our friendship. Tamara promised to talk to her parents about seeing a therapist to address her body image issues and the pressure she was feeling. I offered to support her through that process, sharing some of the resources I had found helpful in my own journey. We also decided to set some boundaries and work on communicating more openly with each other. We made a pact to always be honest about our feelings, even if it was uncomfortable. As we parted ways, I felt a mix of emotions. I was glad we had cleared the air, but I also realized that our friendship had changed. We weren't the same inseparable duo we once were, and that was okay. We were growing up and evolving as individuals. In the weeks that followed, Tamara and I started rebuilding our friendship. We began having weekly video calls to catch up, and we made plans to attend a local music festival together next month. It's not perfect, but it's progress. I've also been focusing on my life at my new school. I joined the debate team and have been making new friends who appreciate me for who I am. It's been refreshing to form relationships that aren't clouded by years of history and unspoken expectations. My article for the school newspaper about body positivity and mental health was well received, and I've been encouraged to write more on these topics. It feels good to use my experiences to potentially help others. While I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of my friendship with Tamara, I'm also prepared for the possibility that we might grow apart. I've learned that it's okay to prioritize my own well-being and surround myself with people who genuinely support me. Thank you all again for your advice. I'll keep you updated on how things progress. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I wish I had better news to share. Unfortunately, things with Tamara have taken a turn for the worse. At first, things seemed to be improving. Tamara started seeing a therapist, and we were having regular catch-up sessions. We even attended that music festival we had planned, and for a while, it felt like old times. We danced to our favorite bands, shared cotton candy, and stayed up late talking in our tent. For a moment, I thought we had finally moved past our issues. However, about a month ago, I noticed Tamara becoming increasingly distant. She would cancel our video calls at the last minute or respond to my messages days later. When we did talk, she seemed distracted and uninterested in what I had to say. I tried to give her space, thinking maybe she was just going through a rough patch. I knew therapy could bring up difficult emotions, and I wanted to be understanding. But as the weeks went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Things came to a head last week when I found out through social media that Tamara had thrown a big birthday party for herself. I was shocked because her birthday isn't for another month, and she hadn't mentioned any party to me. As I scrolled through the photos, I saw that many of our old friends from my previous school were there, including some of the people who had bullied me. What hurt the most was seeing Monica, the girl who had led most of the bullying against me, in several photos with Tamara. They were hugging and laughing together like best friends. It felt like a betrayal of everything Tamara and I had been through together. Hurt and confused, I reached out to Tamara to ask why I wasn't invited. Her response left me speechless. She said, "I didn't think you'd want to come. You're so different now, and I didn't want you to feel out of place with your new lifestyle." I was stunned. It felt like all the progress we had made had been erased. When I pressed her further, Tamara admitted that she still felt insecure around me and that she had been talking to our old friends about how I had changed since losing weight. To make matters worse, I found out from a friend at my old school that Tamara had been spreading rumors about me. She told people that I had developed an eating disorder and that I was obsessed with my appearance. She even suggested that I had transferred schools because I wanted to reinvent myself and leave my old friends behind. Some of our mutual friends had started to believe her. I received messages from old classmates asking if I was okay and telling me that it was okay to admit if I had a problem. It was humiliating and infuriating. I confronted Tamara about the rumors, and her response was cold. She said, "Well, isn't that what you wanted? To be noticed and talked about? You got what you wished for." I was devastated. It felt like I was losing my best friend all over again, but this time, it was even more painful because of the betrayal involved. The Tamara I was talking to now felt like a stranger, nothing like the girl who had been my confidant and supporter for so many years. After a lot of thought, I've decided to take a step back from my friendship with Tamara. I sent her a message explaining that I needed some space and that her actions had deeply hurt me. I told her that until she could truly accept me for who I am and stop spreading lies about me, we couldn't be friends. It's been a week, and I haven't heard back from her. Part of me is sad, but another part feels relieved. I realize now that true friendship shouldn't be this hard or painful. I'm focusing on my life at my new school and the genuine friendships I've made there. I've also started a blog about body positivity and mental health, sharing my experiences to help others who might be going through similar situations. This experience has taught me a lot about self-worth and the importance of surrounding myself with people who lift me up rather than tear me down. While it hurts to lose a friendship I've had for so long, I know it's necessary for my own well-being. Thank you all for your continued support. Your words of encouragement have meant more to me than you know. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this chapter of my life. After my last post, I didn't hear from Tamara for several weeks. I focused on my studies, my new friends, and my blog, which has been gaining a modest following. The support I've received from readers who relate to my experiences has been incredibly heartwarming. My life at the new school has been going well. I've maintained my grades and even made it onto the honor roll this semester. The debate team, which I joined earlier this year, made it to the state finals. Although we didn't win, it was an amazing experience that boosted my confidence in public speaking. I've also been continuing my yoga practice and have started teaching a beginner's class at the local community center on weekends. It's been rewarding to share something I'm passionate about with others and see them benefit from it. About a month ago, I received a long email from Tamara. She apologized for her behavior and admitted that she had been seeing a therapist regularly. She explained that she had been diagnosed with depression and an eating disorder, and that she was working on addressing her issues. In her email, Tamara went into detail about how she had been struggling with the pressure from her parents and coaches to maintain her athletic performance. She revealed that she had developed unhealthy eating habits and exercise routines to try and meet these expectations. Tamara also confessed that seeing my transformation had triggered a lot of her insecurities, leading her to lash out and spread those hurtful rumors. She took full responsibility for her actions, acknowledging the pain she had caused me. Tamara explained that through therapy, she had come to realize how toxic her behavior had been, not just towards me but in many of her relationships. She said she was working on rebuilding her self-esteem in healthier ways and learning to be happy for others' successes without feeling threatened. Tamara asked for my forgiveness but made it clear that she understood if I didn't want to reconnect. She ended the email by thanking me for being a positive influence in her life for so many years and expressing hope that I was doing well. I took some time to process her email before responding. It brought up a lot of mixed emotions: sadness for the friendship we had lost, anger at how I had been treated, but also a sense of closure. After a few days, I wrote back to Tamara. In my response, I thanked her for her honesty and told her I was proud of her for seeking help. I shared a bit about my own life, my successes at school, my yoga teaching, and my blog. I explained that while I forgave her, I wasn't ready to rebuild our friendship. Too much had happened, and I needed to prioritize my own emotional well-being. However, I wished her well in her recovery and told her that I hoped she would find happiness. This decision wasn't easy, but it felt right. Over the past few months, I've learned so much about myself and what I want in my relationships. I've formed strong friendships with people who support and uplift me, and I've become more confident in setting boundaries. My blog has become a passion project, and I've even been invited to speak at a local high school about body positivity and mental health. It's amazing to think that my personal struggles have led to something positive that can help others. As for my health journey, it's no longer the focus of my life. I found a balance that works for me, focusing on overall well-being rather than a number on the scale. Yoga continues to be a big part of my life, both for physical and mental health. I've also discovered a love for cooking and often experiment with nutritious recipes, sharing my favorites on my blog. Looking back, I realized that this experience with Tamara, as painful as it was, taught me valuable lessons about friendship, self-worth, and personal growth. It's bittersweet to close this chapter of my life, but I'm excited about what the future holds. To anyone going through something similar, remember that it's okay to outgrow friendships and to prioritize your own well-being. True friends will support your growth, not try to hold you back. Thank you all for being part of this journey with me. Your support and advice have been invaluable, and I'm grateful for this community. While this will be my final update on this situation, I'll carry the lessons I've learned with me always.